Oh man. The same stuff every morning. Hey, is the mic going to be on or is it not going to be on? I'll figure this out as I go through the system. It is good to see each and every one of you, or at least talk to you all this morning. I am your meteorologist, Bryan. We are looking at the forecast for Lafayette, Indiana on Let's Talk Lafayette. Now, you know me, you've seen me, you know my experiences, and I was putting out there all kinds of Clint Eastwood ideas for you to come watch this forecast and just to talk to me on this podcast today. So if you're in there and you're joining in on the chat, let me know what you're thinking. What do they always say? Hit the like and subscribe buttons as soon as you can so we can keep this going. It's actually starting to slowly start to build a little bit. Kind of surprised me. I actually popped over to the other channel, to my Burden on Society channel, for a little bit, and you all started signing up on this channel a little bit more. So we'll try to keep it going as we get into what we will be doing over the next, hour, basically. So we're going to cover a ton of weather, and I'm not talking 3 minutes of weather. I'm talking 30 minutes to 45 minutes of straight weather, looking at maps, charts, satellite pictures, cameras. We're going to look a little bit of everything. You think there's nothing out there weather-wise? I'm going to show you some weather today. That is for sure. And we're going to try to run through our system here and try to figure this thing out. Okay, so hopefully you are seeing me pretty cleanly right now, and it's not too bad of a deal at all for most of us. I think we're on the big screen right now. I'm gonna kind of kick out and I'm gonna go back in and we're gonna look and see what's on our picture, because I'm not on OBS this morning. I'm on just regular, so that means that it'll change a little bit, and I'll have to go to each page when I go to it instead of clicking in and clicking out. So that may be a little bit of a time difference, but we'll get it moving right now. And we're gonna do what? We're gonna always start with the local weather first. I start with two different things. You start with the big picture as a forecaster, but I got to know what it is outside, don't I? So here it is. We're going to show you 39 degrees outside right now. Actually, 36 is showing up on there. Am I dyslexic? Did I read it upside down? I'm not sure. Is that dyslexic? I'm not sure if that is. If you are dyslexic out there, man, I feel for you when you see numbers and things differently. And hopefully you're getting through life fine. How do you get through something when you step on your own words like that? Yeah, I know. All right, 36 degrees outside right now, 2 miles an hour on the wind. How do I know it's so good out there? I just went out, gave blood at the VA, and got some tests done there, and I'm back in the seat as fast as I can. I think I got to take a sick grandson to school here pretty soon. So as soon as I hear about that, we'll let you know, and I might have to jump out of here. But it seems like I got about an hour before we'll get everything going. All right, let's take a look at these numbers. 36 degrees for your temperature currently, right? Expect sunny skies and the high will be 66. Nah, I'm going to bump that. I think we might hit all the way to 70 today. Matter of fact, you know me now. If you've been watching for a little while, I will probably bump all of these temperatures just a little bit. I think there'll be potential to get near 80 on Friday. We'll definitely hit 80 on Sunday, it looks like now, and even the models are coming online with that. Saturday, we'll call it 75, right? But today, let's shoot for 70, even though we know we're going to be at least in the mid 60s, which is very comfortable. And what I do see on here is really, and we saw this yesterday, there's not any real big systems in our forecast for the extended forecast for any time frame for at least a week and then farther out. We'll see if anything's changed this morning, because believe it or not, I haven't looked at a chart since yesterday. So I'm going to be going through these just like you would be at any given time. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch back out. Let's see, we're going to pop out and then I'm going to go back in and hit a different page. Wow, this is kind of mess me up, guys. I'll do the best I can as I go through this. There we go. Boom. Bam. Let's go over to Meteorology, do page, and the first thing we're going to look at is a satellite picture. Okay, and as we look at the satellite picture, we're going to be looking for the broadness of where the jet stream is and what we have been looking for in our basically how everything moves around the country, right? So I said, first we look at the weather here. We know it's pretty nice. It's not too bad. And when we look at Lafayette over right about here on the chart, you're going to see that there's not much upstream from us. And upstream would be Minnesota right now. You can see the flow right through here, right? You can see how the flow is going. And then as it gets east of us, it starts to turn back towards the north and take an opposite direction. So we have a trough here. Where was the trough yesterday? Well, the trough was over the Great Lakes itself instead of just to the east of the Great Lakes, or now starting to position itself farther to the east. And we had this big, broad area of high pressure out on the West Coast, big ridge out over the Rocky Mountains. And remember, I talked about Santa Ana's and that they see Santa Ana's whenever we saw a high set up over Nevada. And that's basically what's happening. Well, they're talking about record high temperatures out there. Okay, record high temperatures. You can break a record high almost any day. It doesn't really mean that much, just means very warm temperatures. And this is a normal condition when they get high pressure centered over the Nevada area, out over there, over the high deserts. And they get the Santa Antas in the southern California area where I forecasted for a bit when I was in the Marine Corps. A bit, I was there 9 years, so it was a pretty long time frame. So, jet arcs up and over the Rocky Mountains and the western half of the United States, dives down over the eastern half, and you get exactly what you would expect. It's chilly and colder over the eastern half of the United States. It's much warmer and drier over the western half of the United States. We will occasionally see a system come out of the Alberta area. We call them Alberta Clippers, and there's something up there to the north right now. You can see we also had a very light system move through overnight. Maybe you saw a few sprinkles from that or some light rain here or there, but it looks like it's passed through pretty quickly already this morning. Let's zoom in a little bit. I'm going to go in real close here, see what we can see for clouds. Lafayette being right there. Most of the cloud cover is already moving off. It was a beautiful morning. If you have some pictures this morning you took maybe of the sunrise or something, go ahead and set it in there, because while there were a mixture of clouds and I drove over to get my blood taken and back there, I could see some beautiful skies out there. I just wasn't going to take the camera and move it while I was driving. So upstream, not much happening out here. A few clouds still heading in. So that tells me we're going to be in and out of clouds. That might be the one factor that keeps us from getting to 70 today. But yesterday, I think we were somewhere in the low 50s pretty easily. It felt that sun just felt so warm, especially if you were in an area where you were blocked by the wind a little bit, felt even warmer. So we're starting to feel the spring warmth coming into our minds, at least as we look at everything here. So there's a satellite picture kind of showing everything. Let's put the mosaic over it real quick, the radar, see if we see anything. And there's some scattered showers over in Ohio. That's where this system, remember, we talked about it yesterday, was mixed. One model showed a little bit of light rain over us, but the other two or three did not, kind of kept it off towards our northeast. And that's exactly what it looked like happened. We got some cloud cover out of it, maybe a few sprinkles here or there, maybe early morning hours. But most of that is now passed off to our south, and we are looking pretty good on that front. Okay, so now let's go into the models. All right. What are we looking at short term? So let's start short term and then work our way out to like 2 weeks. And through that, we're going to go through various models and look and see what the models actually show. So now, because of the time change, we've had some changes we've had to do. First off, we're now moved our clock forward, and our visual charts on our satellites are really no good again until maybe a month from now. And then we'll start to get about 4 or 5 months of really good visual charts early in the morning when I come on at 9 o'clock. We also lose some of our models, like the HER model updates every 6 hours, and it's in it right in the middle of a 12Z mode right now. It's only 27% out. It does update every single hour, but it only does that for 18 hours at a time. And when it does the 6 hourly, it does 48 hours. So I like to see that a little bit more. So I'm going to go back actually to the 6Z real quick here, and we'll look at it. And then maybe by 10 o'clock, 10 till 10, we'll have most of the HER in, and we'll be able to look at it there. Okay. So let's look at the Midwest too when we're looking at this. When we first started, it's probably going to show the system. There it is. Boy, it doesn't show much for that system, does it, at all? As we look at this, there it is. This was supposed to be 8 o'clock in the morning. There's actually probably a little bit more rain on here than what the system is showing for that time frame. But then it moves on at 9 o'clock. It's at least in the right spot. It's in Ohio, right? We just saw that. We see a couple showers popping up. You could probably draw a line pretty easily all the way just like that into the system as to where some of these showers start to pop up to the southwest of us. But we really just don't have anything major in our area. This might be even more of an upper level feature, with Lafayette being right about here. No precipitation in the forecast. You don't see anything in here. Big old high starts to dominate a little bit, right? Well, okay, let's call that a medium-sized high. I wouldn't call it a big old high, but it's a high. and it's in control there, and it shows kind of where we're going to be during that time frame. And it looks like during the 06Z run, the herd did not get in much of its data, not much at all. It says it's 100% done, but it only went out 15 hours. So let's go see what the 11Z says, and it'll only show about 18 hours. It shows the precipitation a little bit better, right? And it shows a few scattered showers over towards St. Louis, maybe popping up. But generally speaking, it's pretty dry also. And then it kind of moves into that. So since we're not getting a ton of data, let's switch models and switch to something that does probably have some data. And this is the uh, NAM, which we call the North American model, which for short is NAM, right? And the HER is short for HRRR. That's what HER, right? High resolution rapid refresh is the other model. So we're going to look at the NAM, and this is the NEST. This is its hourly form that it puts out every 6 hours. And we're going to look at the Midwest also. And we're going to start off pretty much right around the time frame we are. Let's see. There we go. There's 13Z, which would be 1 o'clock in the afternoon in England, right? That's GMT time. That's so the globe is on the exact same time. They use that for everywhere. So everywhere in the world, you can adjust your time frame to get to your model and to what your run was. For instance, it was plus 13 in Antarctica. We were ahead of GMT. So the day started earlier there. It's always a half a day ahead, basically, than it was in England, right? And well, here we're -4 at the moment. We're 4 hours behind England at this point. So you take 4 off at 13Z and you get yourself to 9 o'clock. And sure enough, there is your scattered showers right through Ohio. It does show maybe a sprinkle or two popping up in our area. And that's probably what we actually saw this morning, I would think. Maybe a couple people saw something here or there. But generally speaking, it's not bad at all. A couple showers here or there. Again, down near the Ohio River, it shows. And this is an hourly update. And then just like yesterday, we start to see some pop-up like moisture in the area on the ground. I think this is more than anything. When we get to the 7Z time frame, right? Okay. This is 3 o'clock in the morning tomorrow morning. And we start to see the potential. This was probably more fog than it is anything else. Maybe some very low stratus clouds creating some sprinkles. Lafayette's right about here. It's not really in that mix, but I do generally kind of keep that. We do have a system swinging in off the north east of it. So maybe it's associated with that. But when I kind of see this kind of thing, I think more of like foggy conditions popping up, and that just low clouds and the kind of fog and drizzle off and on here or there. Maybe it's not even drizzling, but it's foggy, that kind of thing. That's what they're seeing for tomorrow morning. Well, here we go all the way through tomorrow during the day and nothing happens, but the front kind of kicks through, right? The high is allowed it, and it just shows that stuff behind it there. I don't think we're much. That's what's going to stop us tomorrow from maybe getting to 70 is this thing kicking in the afternoon and increasing our clouds. Otherwise, I think we would probably hit 70 tomorrow. It does. I mean, it's one of those days that we might actually make it a few degrees warmer. So we'll see what happens on that. I always like to go a little warmer, especially if I know there's going to be sun. But now I'm thinking there'll be cloud cover during the day tomorrow. It looks like. And then as we move in, and it shows maybe a chance for a sprinkle here or there, but no major storms. That's not a major storm at all. That's nothing. And then I'm continuing to see a lot of this light green stuff. So remember, I think I told you yesterday that Friday or Saturday morning, we'd have potential for fog. And sure enough, here it is on Saturday. What to me looks kind of more like a foggy scenario, not a rainy scenario. Although you get sprinkles, drizzle in that fog. In a forecaster's mind, that's really not a lot of precipitation. That's just part of the fog is what it is more than anything else. But you'll get some sprinkles and maybe some drizzle out of that kind of thing. And then it goes on into Saturday morning, and we still don't see anything in the Lafayette area of any significance at all. Just those couple weak little troughs with the system mainly up over the Great Lakes. And what did we see each day with the ones that came near us last night and the one the night before? Each day it got closer, it weakened the system and slightly pushed it off towards the northeast. And we didn't get a lot out of either of those systems last night and the night before. Okay, so that's the kind of thing you'll see with your precipitation. All right, so that makes us focus the first couple days on temperature. Let's go see what the temperature is going to look like. All right, on this. and we go to the surface. I go to the temperatures, and then I come back over to where we are now. So let's look at this morning. Remember, we know 9 o'clock it was 13Z, right? And we were looking for a temperature of 35 at that time frame, right? And when I pop back to, I see 36 over there real quick as our temperature. So we're really close. And on our temperatures, at least here on this run of the Nam Nest. All right. The Nam Nest is pretty close temperature wise. The pocket to the northwest where the cold air is, not nearly as cold as it showed it just a few days ago. Remember, I think on Monday and Tuesday, we were talking about some negative temperatures or at least near zero up in this area. Now we're just talking 20s. And I know it has snowed a lot up here, especially up in the UP. I have some friends that live up there in the UP and they got 2 feet of snow just in the last couple of days. And they had some friends had to come dig them out up there. So, Trish, if you're watching, Glenn, if you're watching up there, they're up in the UP and they got a lot of snow in the last couple of days. Meanwhile, here we are, 35 this morning. We hit 50 something yesterday, 51 or 2. And then today we may be pushing 70 degrees, depending on cloud cover today, and maybe even 80 tomorrow as a possibility. So we'll have to keep an eye on, well, 70 tomorrow. So here we are, 65, 67. Look at that. It's not very far away. Central Illinois hits 70 degrees. 65 will be fine for us. The model kind of said we would be 66, and, is with the number it picked out. But this is 22Z, which would be 10 o'clock. So 6 o'clock this evening, 65 degrees, very comfortable. Maybe just a mixture of clouds. Tonight does not drop off much at all. We're in our mid 40s for our lows. And the same thing here has the same effect, except it's the opposite effect, right? At night, if we have cloud cover, it acts like a blanket. It holds the temperatures in. So say cloud cover comes in into the evening hours and we're at 55. Well, we're going to stay at 50 to 55 probably. But without the cloud cover, we drop to 45 or maybe even 40, depending on the weather and the situation, just to give you an idea how it works. All right. And I just feel like sometimes the model doesn't pick that up. Other times picks it up great, right? So that's why I have a tendency on my forecasting to bump the temperatures one direction or another, depending on the model. All right. So tomorrow it says we're going to rebound and it shows 70 hitting tomorrow, right? 73, 75, 76 right there, right in Lafayette, despite the trough coming through. So the cloud cover may keep us from getting to 80 tomorrow. Plus, look at the 80s are pretty far away, right? We're talking central Missouri to finally get to some 80s. So maybe stretching to 80 tomorrow might be a push, really a hard push to get there. That's that Clint Eastwood. Do you feel lucky? Well, maybe do you feel lucky tomorrow? We could maybe get to 80 if you want some warmth, but it looks like mid 70s is pretty good. And it'll all count on how much of that cloud cover comes over. If it's this kind of different levels we see today and we still see the sun through it pretty easily, we'll see 76, which is kind of probably what the model is saying. If we get mostly clear skies where we don't see much of that cloud cover because of that system moving through, doesn't throw much on us, then we may hit 80. And then the opposite could happen if the clouds kind of hit and they're real thick and we see no real sun coming in and out as that system goes by to our northeast, then we may only hit 72, something like that. But it's still a nice warm day tomorrow, just to give you the heads up on that. All right. So as we move along, then we see Saturday morning, if you're going to be out and about doing something, we drop down to fairly close to normal. We're in the upper 30s to the low 40s in the local area. That's 4 or 5 in the morning right there. It looks like it bottoms out around 37, right? Not bad. Not bad for March at all. And then we rebound very nicely Saturday. Well, we don't quite get to it on this, but a lot of this is going to try to get over to us again on Saturday and start to get into our area. And as it does that, we may be popping 80 degrees on Saturday or Sunday. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, very warm actually for this time of the year. But I know a lot of people are wanting that, so it's not bad at all, right, with that. Now let's take a look at some wind gusts too at the same time. We go back to today. Look how calm it is this morning, right? Good day to be out doing whatever you want. If it's going to be 70 degrees this evening, right? Here we are. That's 9Z, which is going to be what? If you take 4 away, you are correct. 5 o'clock, which is what? 17Z. There you go. All right. In Zulu time, or that's what we're talking about, but in military time, it'd be 17. It still only shows gusts to 4 knots. That's gusts. That means the sustained wind is 1 or 2 or even calm, right? So a very quiet day wind wise today. Not bad. It's going to feel even warmer because of that too, right? And then overnight we start to pick up a little bit of wind, but at least through the evening we're very good. And then look at this, right around 1Z, which that's 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. We start picking up a little bit of wind, but gusts of 15 or 16 is not out of the ordinary. That's a 5 to 10 mile an hour wind probably, and then you'll see some gust of 15 to 17. And that's not, you bump it 1 or 2 for miles an hour when you go through it. And then it looks like it might be a little gusty overnight, which will actually help. Remember, the system's popping through. You can kind of see where it is just by where the wind, gusty winds are and the direction. See how it's pulling everything into the low here, pulling everything into the low pressure system in here, right? So it's right here. Lows, everything spins into the center. Highs, everything spins away from the center. So when you spin stuff away from the center, you dry everything out, right? When you spin everything into it, you're pulling everything that's in it around it. So if you're pulling in moisture, that's how low pressure systems kind of work. Just a rough way to think about it. Look what it may do to our winds tomorrow, though. So also, this will be another factor, right? If you're talking 30, 31 gusts, and look at where they're coming from, and coming right from where we know the warm air is, we could drag in maybe an 80-degree temperature tomorrow. But it definitely looks like we're mid 70s. That makes me more positive that we're going to be 75 to 78 tomorrow, right? And I think the model said 76 because I see those gusty winds in there. And then into the evening hours tomorrow night starts to drop off as we get into the next system, which is nothing. Then we're dead calm again overnight, Saturday night into Saturday morning, and during the day on Saturday, very calm again. But that will lead help when the winds kick up a little bit later on Saturday, because that's what I think they'll do. It's the pocket right here. We'll start to get some of that warmth in here, and then maybe Saturday we're going to be coming somewhere near 75 to 80, and the same thing on Sunday. So the weather is looking good there. Let's look at the NAM. Let's go out. So that was the NAM nest, which is the hourly one. Now, when we go to these longer range forecasts, the NAM itself, it's a 3-hour forecast. So it goes 6Z, 9Z, 12Z, 15Z. It gives you every 3 hours instead of every hour when I'm looking at these charts. Same thing for you when you're looking at them. So we're going to go through the NAM here real quick and see where the temperatures are on it. So here it is. This is Saturday morning, basically, 18Z around the noon time frame, and it starts to warm us up, but it only shows maybe 69 or 70 on Saturday, right? And it's a little more negative than the NAM nest was, at least for this time frame, I think. And it didn't quite go out there, the NAM nest. But look at this. Highs or the lows are only in the low 50s. And then we rebound on Sunday, and it doesn't even get to the max of the day. It's basically at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's 78 degrees already, right? But I do see some 72, 73s, and 60s over here. So we're going to have some kind of cloud cover kicking in on Sunday from that direction. Let's look at it real quick and see what it shows for surface weather during that time frame. Does it show anything? Yeah, see, it shows a system. So right in front of the system, it'll be very warm. That's where we could kick to 80 degrees before the trough comes through. And there are some sprinkles and some light rain possible with that system, it looks like. But the trough comes through. That's 18Z, so that's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So it comes through maybe mid-afternoon to late afternoon. If it's a few hours later, it's going to get much warmer. If it's a couple hours earlier, we're going to lose a couple of those degrees because of the trough kicking through during that time frame. All right. So what now? We've gone through kind of the first couple of days, and we're pushing our way out to Saturday and Sunday. Let's go back to the time frame. Let's go back to Friday now, right? And let's change models and go to the European model. And the European model shows a different type of precipitation, and it looks a little differently. It has blues on here and greens. Not bad at all, really. Pretty easy to see. But you see the trough on Friday. Everything is off to our northeast, you notice. And we're just kind of taking the tail ends of these things, and mostly clouds with a few sprinkles or a light shower here or there. What does it look like as it goes by? You remember I was talking to you about precipitation and fog and drizzle. Well, when it's calm out, there's a better chance of that. And when we were looking at calm conditions, Saturday morning, was it Friday morning also? I think it was, right? Tomorrow morning, right? If it's very calm, that's when you get your fog. If you get 10 knots of wind or more, you usually lose it. But if you're in that 0 to 5 knots, just that low number, it tends to just be a perfect condition for fog. And right after that system comes through on Saturday morning, it looks like, because here we are Friday night, we're not looking at much of anything. It gets kind of calm and quiet, right? And then maybe we start to see something. We go back to like 12Z is 8 in the morning, right? And then there's 4 in the morning, and there's just not much here. You don't see any isobars. There's a high to our north. The low is already passed off. We're fairly warmish, I would say, for March. We're pretty real warm, and then we start to warm it. Now let's see if there's any bigger systems. So now here we are on Saturday evening. Now we're into Sunday, and we see an approaching system to our north. And as it comes in, it kind of washes through again. This is on Sunday evening. Look at this, Sunday evening. But look at the main portion of the system is out here. And this is just very widely scattered, nothing hardly. More clouds than anything. And it's all timing, like the NAM Nest showed us, right? It's all timing. It's also showing some trough passing us between 18 and 21Z. It's actually all the way to the south. So now you're talking in the mid afternoon, and that will affect our temperatures. And right now, both models are showing the same thing, all right, or very close. And that washes to the south, and then we get into Monday. Here we are, Sunday night into Monday, and there you have it right there, my friends. Your big high pressure system that is going to dominate our weather for a while, or at least that kind of system. And it's going to kind of come through, but that's where we're at. Here we are Monday. Nothing on Monday. The high is in control, but we're not on the right side of the high for real warm temperatures yet. Once we get on this side of the high, which is the west side of it, we are going to start warming things up. So looks like late on Monday, it's going to try to start warming it up. And then Tuesday is going to be pretty warm for sure. Look at that. You got a southwest wind just by looking at the isobars. You're going to have a southerly to southwest wind. And then that's as far as the NAM goes out, and then the European, and it only got 37% when it came out. So there must have been some problems with some of the models last night. We're not able to go that far out. Let's change the GFS and keep going. All right. So there's the time frame for the GFS. It shows this is Tuesday morning, right? Let's go back a little bit, see if it shows anything kind of coming over us. It doesn't. We still see the broad high there over us on Monday, right? There's that little something that passes by us on Sunday. You can kind of see it right there, right? At 21Z, it still has the trough right here, which is just maybe 50 miles difference from the other model. So a little later on the GFS, and the GFS is your global model. Global forecast system, I think is the way. I don't know if that's the exact acronym. That one's lost me for a bit. And then it shows just a couple showers popping up here or there, mainly south of us. All right. Then it gets into Tuesday. This is the long range one. And I'm seeing that it says 100% is in. So let's see what it says. There's the broad high, right? The broad high. It's a little farther north with it. That could change some things too. Could block some systems, or it could allow something like this to pass through underneath the system now that the high's gone off there, right? So there's maybe, what is that, late Tuesday? Yeah, that's Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, right? So this is like 11 o'clock Tuesday night. And it looks like a couple passing showers will go through. And we're still warm. There's our 540 line right there. So it'd be snow up here and rain here. So we're a little chillier because we haven't been able to get a big high in here and get a big southerly flow. And we have a chance for some rain overnight, Tuesday night into Wednesday. And then there's a little bit of a chance on Wednesday evening. There's our first decent system on Thursday next week. So it's like a week away, right? Before our next big system. This has a bit more to it. I can see some punch of cold behind it, but because it is coming from the north, it's not tapped into any Gulf of America moisture yet. All right. So there it goes by. And then we have the high behind it. We see that here, and it's farther south. Now we're starting to trend cooler. See, the 540 line has showed up again now. Now, the 540 line, if you've followed with me, is just a weatherman's indicator of where snow should be, north or south of that, and an indicator of what our temperatures would be. So this would be next Friday. It shows temperatures in the morning pretty chilly, right? Below freezing. Still very, very not bad for March. Could be a lot worse. We've seen some pretty good March storms where we dropped down to like 10 before, but this only looks like it's going to be 20s or 30s. That's my quick guess as we look at it. And then it passes to the north. We see another system. we're still thinking about that system that maybe settles itself right in here towards the end of this run that it has been doing every time. But this is the yeah, this is the GFS in the mode that I have it in the precipitation mode like this. And then we see, there we go, some more scattered showers way out 2 weeks from now almost. And then there we are into the 2 week time frame. Wednesday, another system finally starting to come in from the south. And I say finally, I don't mind it, because when we start to get our systems from the south this time of the year, then we're talking severe weather. So severe weather wise, we look pretty darn quiet for a while. And then there's a pretty good system way out Wednesday, Thursday, April 1st, 2nd, 3rd still are looking like there's potential for some rain showers, rain, and that kind of thing. So I'm going to switch over to the winter mode and go back to the precipitation type. And let's go back to that system. Back, it's what, next weekend was it? Let's see, Wednesday. There goes some a little bit of rain. There goes some rain by. Then here comes the 540 line. You notice the snow is up here and the rain is down here when you're looking at it. But again, those are just generalities. And then we go through it, and then there's a little. This is now talking March 29th. It shows mostly rain on us. And because it's so far out, we can't take this for much. This is 10 days away, right? March 29th is next weekend. We don't see much. Another high builds in behind it. Then there's the one system that could still bring us some snow right there. That's next Monday, March 30th. So we're talking 11 days from now, 10, 11 days, right? What is today? Today's the 19th. So 11 days from now could bring us a little bit. I wouldn't trust that for anything because it's so far out. What I do see is a little cooler trend, though, during that time frame. A real hot trend we're going to get into, then we're going to cool off, then warm up, and then we're going to cool off again. So, and we'll go through the temperatures here again in just a little bit. All right, so there goes that system by, and now I start to see an influence from the south a little bit more now, and then we're going to maybe change back out by the time we get into the beginning of April, and we start to get into more of a rainy pattern. And I see a low over here instead of up here, right? So this low here, which means it pulls up Gulf of America moisture, even though we're a long ways away, it does affect our weather consistently. And you'll see that there. So on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd of April is when we start to see more rain. We start to see more spring-like weather again with showers and thunderstorms. A lot of us think of spring that way, showers and thunderstorms and flowers and a lot of good things, right? Some really cool stuff that's out there at this time frame. All right, so let's pop back. Let's see what the temperatures look like on this long range. We'll go to the surface, look at temperatures, and see what it's saying. Like the first few days on the GFS, let's see how it is. It going to try to warm us up a lot? Well, there it goes. There's some 65s. Is that today? That is today. So there you go. 65 is very consistent, at least on all the models. So that looks like where we'll get. Maybe we'll make 70. Then tomorrow, it does get us above 70. And then one of the models showed what, 76, 77. We have a potential. And I said there's a slight chance to get to 80 tomorrow. And then as we move into, we don't see any warm or cold at night. You notice you're in the 40s and 50s. That's above normal for March. Okay. You should be having highs in the low to mid 50s, it getting warmer as the month goes on. And then you should have lows somewhere in the 40 to 45 range and maybe 45 to 50. We can still hit freezing all the way out to the middle of May. So remember that it does happen still. So April can still see some freezing temperatures in the early morning hours. But here we are Saturday. What does it say here? It only goes for like 65. It shows for a high there. Maybe it gets a little warmer in between. But look at that big pocket of 90s out here. Remember Nebraska? They were down 10 to 20 degrees just within the last week too. Same with Kansas, maybe a little warmer. And now they're pushing 90s in there. All right, so very warm weather out to our west. The reason we may or may not get some of those 90s and maybe even the low 80s is because of the cloud cover that'll keep passing by with those systems that keep going by to our north. A lot of it anyway is that reasoning. Here comes the system for Sunday. Boom, and right in front of the system, see the pocket of warmth right here? It pushes right in front of the trough, right? Because see how all the direction of winds, all these little wind barbs, all these little things right here are pointed in this direction. And it's a pocket of 80s and 90s down here. Looks like 89, 93, all the way into Oklahoma. pushing right up into Indiana and Illinois. So Illinois looks like it's into the 80s. And what is that? Covington right down here, maybe Attica. We're going to be real close to 80 degrees on Sunday again. So, and that's with this model. All right. That's with this model. And I think we'll probably hit 80 on Sunday, 81, 82, somewhere in there. And then we'll cool off a little bit. We're going to reinforce some of the cold just for a little while, right? With our high on Monday only being maybe 45 or 50. I think this will probably mellow out a little bit and probably come to around 50 for our high. That wouldn't surprise me at all. And then Tuesday morning, there we are, maybe at freezing or just below freezing. And then we warm up pretty decently on Tuesday, maybe around 50 degrees. Still be able to get out and do some things. It looks like it's a little windy, but we're not quite winds out of the south yet, right? You see over here, we still have some cooler temperatures. If we were pulling from 60, 70 degrees here, then I would see 50s to, in our area, but not quite on Tuesday next week. Then Wednesday next week in the morning, it's around 40 to 45. And we warm back up into close to 60, maybe 55 to 60. Look at 70 is not very far away, right at Terre Haute. So that'll be a day we'll have to watch out for some warmer temperatures on Wednesday. Then Thursday, some more warmth right here, 60s, but it didn't get quite as warm out to the west as it did. So looks like 60s, maybe 70 degrees next Thursday. This is overnight too, you notice. This is early morning hours that you're seeing that. So you're going to see a low Thursday morning when you go into work of like 65. You're going to think, wow, this is great. And then you're going to come out of work and look at this. It's going to be 45 to 48 into the afternoon hours. All right. So very chilly. But the warmth returns pretty quickly on Friday. And remember, Thursday next week that's that rain coming through on that one little system. It's a little stronger. That's our first real chance for the next rain is then, but not severe weather. And then it reinforces the cold just a little bit. So we get back down in the 30s at night for a while by next weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There we are, 30s at night, maybe 40s or 50s during the day. And then do we start to warm up any? Nope, we're still kind of cool. What will that system do as we get into April? Watch as we push. Here we are, March 30th. We're still seasonable with our temperatures in the 40s and maybe 50s, right? 30s to 40s in the morning, 40s to 50s at night or during the day. And then we start to warm up. There you go, Wednesday, April 1st. But look at the warmth is just not out there to our west by that time frame. So we're only going to be in the 60s, but that's still very comfortable. And we're going to start pulling in a lot more rain. Then we start to get a little warmer west and south of us, and we start to get a little warmer in our area by April 1st. That's not a joke right there. I see some pretty strong winds if that stays on track. Remember, timing on this always seems to slide longer. It's been my history. If a system 2 weeks out shows it on Tuesday, by the time we actually get to it, it's moved all the way to Friday at times because it moves it a little bit to slow it down, to slow it down, to slow it down. Each model run tends to push it out a little more. It's on your big systems. But what are our trends? Our trends are very warm here for the next few days. Then we're going to drop back down to near normal and actually be just a little above or a little below normal for about 2 weeks there. Pretty steady, a good week anyway, after we get through the warmth here over into Sunday, right? So be ready for your outdoor activities the next few days. Not a lot of rain in the forecast. It'll be very spotty at best. Lots of warmth during the days. Some pretty nice warm mornings too. Not too bad for us. And we're looking pretty good on that front, all right? Not bad at all. Let's pop back out. Boom. There you go. And you're saying to yourself, Bryan, look at this Final Four shirt. Weather's looking great. You got your headband on, right? The last time they went to the Final Four, I was doing some podcast for Purdue, as Purdue, my own little thing, and I wore a headband the whole time. Well, I'm going to give that to the guys this time. I should have been wearing it all season. Might have helped the ladies too, Maybe they'd have made the tournament. That's probably what I should have been doing. That's why the guys lost a few games. But now I got the headband back on and we're doing great. Oh, look at this. We got Bill's in there this morning. Good to see you, Bill. Kingdom Mindset. Craig's in there. He's watching that. Can't wait for some good weather. Again, he's saying, yep, we got you. I'm able to read it now when I get on the side here. Pretty easy. Bill, sun and warm temps in Indiana for March. Hell has frozen over. Yeah, he's an Indiana native, and now he's down in Tennessee, and he loves it down there. I know he does, and he likes his taxes. His taxes are better. I'm not sure about his taxes on what he buys. It's a little higher, but that taxes on everything else he likes down there in Texas or Tennessee, excuse me. And we're looking for some kind of something close to build down there where we can take the whole family and have our own compound of 10 or 20 acres, maybe 30 acres and 5 or 6 buildings, and just bring the whole family there for the apocalypse. Well, maybe not the apocalypse, whatever it is. Maybe when Jesus comes, we'll be ready for him. And it won't matter anyway where we are. We'll just all go with him. All right. Bill included. That's you, Bill. I knew he'd get him in there. All right. So, what else are we talking about? Well, for me today, it would be Purdue, right? So I'm going to pop up the Purdue site, see if they put anything new on there. Yesterday, they just kind of told you where you could go and that kind of thing. And they're still doing that. I'm not seeing any actual reports on what they're going to do. So let's see if they got anything in here. Yeah. Oh, the game day information's a little better. Okay. So obviously 2 seed Purdue versus a 15 seed Queens. And yes, Queens is in North Carolina. It is not in New York, although there is a Queens in New York. This college is in North Carolina. It's their first time they've ever been in the NCAA tournament. And it was, I believe, their first chance to actually get in too, because they just went from Division II to Division I. And here they are in the NCAA tournament already. Tomorrow night at 7:35 Eastern, 6:35 Central Time. It's on True TV, and you're going to have Spiro Deeds, Jim Spanarkel, and John Rothstein on the call there. John Rothstein's known pretty well. I don't know the other 2 guys just by name. I probably know them by face and sound. And, of course, on radio on the Purdue Global Network, Rob Blackman and our friend of the show, Bobby Rydell. Why is he a friend of the show? Because I coached him playing baseball when he was a kid. Gotta love that. And he played for Purdue in his days, played basketball for them. That was great. And Bobby's been talking with them, and he's been their radio voice for a while now, along with Rob Blackman. All right. So Purdue's numbers this year, obviously they were 27-8. They won the Big Ten tournament. They are a number 2 seed, They earned that by winning the Big Ten tournament. So don't let anybody think the Big Ten tournament doesn't affect something. I'm pretty sure if they lose that game, they probably would have been the top number 3 seed. And that would have changed everything where things went. But now they're a 2 seed. They get a little bit easier. They don't have to face the 1 for a while. A 1 or a 2 is almost identical. That way, your play game when you get to the Elite 8 is to get into the Final Four is always going to be a 1 versus a 2 if everything stacks out right during your playoffs and as you get through the tournament, right? So you were going to play a 1 or a 2 anyway. So you just need to be a 1 or a 2. That's really the goal, to have a little bit better. Generally speaking, you're supposed to be playing teams that aren't as good as you up to that point. The final March Madness run for a group of these guys, the seniors on the team, we're talking Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, TKR, Trent Kaufman-Wren, and Oscar Clough, who wasn't with the guys all these years, but he has been a great addition this year, and he is a senior also. It'll be his last run through the tournament, and he was out. Where was he out? South Dakota State, was it? If anybody knows, let me know on that front, all right? Bill says sales tax sucks there, so he knows. Well, if you don't spend any money on anything, you're good to go, right? But that being said, you're not paying any tax. Every single year, Susie and I end up paying taxes. It has been that way for the 37 years we've been married, and it will be 37 years in 1 month, baby. Love you. 37 years we've been married. We've always paid Indiana taxes, even trying to pay more every paycheck. We still end up owing them somehow or another. Okay, back off of that, back to Purdue. Purdue is back to the number 1 offense in the country, and defensive efficiency is 36th. Now, there's a moniker that says you should be in the top 10 offensively and top 30 defensively to win the national championship, and their defense is just outside that. Now, does it look at how your defense has been playing lately, though? Because the defense efficiency lately is like 5th, I believe, something real close to that. When they went through the Big Ten tournament, they played really good defense, and they were much better. And that got their number from like 40-something back down to 36. It's not going to move a lot now that we're at this point. So that's something to keep in mind. If they're not going to be able to stop anybody, they're not going to win. Can they? Well, they can. They can outscore the other team. And I wish they've been kind of playing that way most of the year, which is offensively much quicker. In my mind, if you are the best offensive team in the country, you want to touch the ball as much as you can. But we play a more slowed down offense, right? Other teams, that helps teams that aren't as good as you, in my opinion, because if you only touch the ball 50 times, you're going to score 75 points. Um, but if they touch the ball 50 times and they get hot somewhere, they might score 70 themselves. But if you touch the ball 60 times, now you're going to score 90, and their chances of scoring 80 are get less, right? Because they don't score as efficiently as you do. So the more times you touch the ball, the more points you're going to score as a team. It's pretty easy math. It's not hard to figure out. That's why I say the offense should be speeded up, in my opinion. I mean, the guys are flying around as it is, but it would be nice to the old running rebels of way back when. I think you kind of remember that. So from back into what? Sometime in the back in the last century, I believe the running rebels were, and they would take a shot like every 10 seconds after getting the ball, something like that. Was really, really quick that they would take a shot. All right, so here's some of the fast facts that you can get right off the Purdue website from Purdue Sports. Coming off a Big Ten tournament title, the Purdue Boilermakers begin their quest for a long NCAA tournament run against Queens University on Friday in St. Louis. It will be the first meeting of these two teams in school histories. Purdue will be facing an Atlantic Sun team in the NCAA tournament for the first time, also in school history. And the Atlantic Sun, I don't know what the other teams are in there. And the Boilermakers are 14-2 against the current members of the Atlantic Sun Conference. I don't know who the last time they faced somebody was December 2023. That was Jacksonville, and they won 100-57. Now, they're more than a 20-point favorite right now, which is what a number one or two usually is. And Purdue finished with the season with 11 quad one victories, good for fifth in the country. And that's why they are a number two seed, partially. Purdue's 24 wins in the first three quads, ranked fourth nationally, only behind Michigan, Duke, and Arizona. That tells you how tough the schedule was. The Boilermakers played 17 games against the NCAA tournament teams, and Kentucky had the most. They played 19 times against them. And in those 17 games, though, just like you would think, I think they're like probably 10-7 because they probably all 7 losses came from one of those teams. When you're playing tough teams, we're talking higher bracket. We're talking top 8 to 10 seeds, 8 to 1 seeds is what we played. Okay. Purdue is one of only 6 teams to record at least 24 victories in each of the last 5 seasons. Houston, Duke, Arizona, Gonzaga, and St. Mary's are the other teams. And since February 1st, Purdue ranks first nationally in overall efficiency in games played away from Mackey Arena. In other words, road or neutral sites. In other words, for some reason, first off, they played all the top teams in Mackey Arena. You're going to lose some of those. In this case, they lost all of them, just about. But that's because they were playing top talent. When you're going to play Michigan, one of the top teams in the country, the second time they beat them when they were away from Mackey, but the first time Michigan got them, right? You played top teams in Wisconsin, not maybe the top 10, but they're up there. Michigan State was top 10 when they came in. We played Nebraska out at their place and beat them. They were top 10. So you can see it was a tough schedule. Now, over the last 4 seasons, since 22-23, the arrival of Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, and TKR, Purdue's 114 wins are tied for the 4th most nationally. Only Houston at 128, Connecticut 121, along with Duke at 121, and Gonzaga at 114 have more or the same, of course, tied with Gonzaga. And in the win over Michigan, Purdue improved to 22-1 when holding opponents under 48% shooting. Purdue is 17-1 when holding foes to 69 or fewer points this season. And during the 4 games in the Big Ten tournament, Purdue held opponents to 66 points, and they were all top notch. Northwestern was on the lower side of that of the 4. Obviously, the other 3 all made the NCAA tournament, right? And Michigan's a number 1 seed, and they beat them. Braden Smith only needs 2 assists to be the NCAA career assist record. And that'll probably go by fleetingly. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets to 5 before he realizes it or anybody pays attention. They'll say something on the announcements. I'm sure they'll say when he gets his second one, but he'll just keep going. He's probably going to get 10 again tomorrow. He now has 1,075 career assists. He trails only Bobby Hurley, who has 1,076 on the list. So Smith is the only player in NCAA history to have at least 1,500 points, 1,000 assists, and 500 career rebounds. Hence the reason he is an All-American again this year. First team again. Now, Fletcher Lawyer has made at least 2 3-pointers in 15 straight games now, and since the start of February is shooting 50 of 104. What? 48% from three-point range. 50 pointers from the start of February are the fourth most in the country. And Lawyer needs 5 3-pointers for 300 in his career. And he doesn't shoot as many as a lot of those guys. I'd love for him to shoot 10 a game. He's only shooting seven, right? But of course, we don't need it all the time necessarily. But man, anytime he shoots 10 and makes four, they win. They're like 25-1 or something crazy. CJ Cox, this is somebody who's quiet. He's the fifth starter. He's the great defensive guy. He's kind of the glue in the team. He can score 20. He's done it before when needed. He scores in the teens a lot. He's just matured as he's gone through a season. He had a little blip, I think it was in January, right? That he just didn't play that well. But he's had just 5 turnovers in the last 28 games, spanning 683 minutes. He had like a 10-game stretch where he didn't have a turnover. That is awesome for a guard to be able to do that. TKR has scored in double figures in 11 straight games, and he's averaging 16 and 8 during that time frame, shooting 60%. In games that Oscar Clough plays at least 30 minutes, Purdue is 6-0. So I would guarantee almost that Clough will play 30 minutes in each game except maybe the first. In those games, he's averaging 14 points and 9 rebounds and 2 assists while shooting 35 of 46 from the field. What? 76%. And he averaged 17 points and 10 rebounds in 30 minutes per game during Big Ten play. People forget that. 17 points and 10 rebounds in 30 minutes per game during the Big Ten tourney. Man. So he could have been the MVP. They gave it to Braden, who had a great, he shattered the assist record in the Big Ten tournament. It was like 30, and he got like 46 in 4 games. So crazy. Jakari Harris is shooting 23 of 50 from long range away from Mackey Arena this year. And in home games, he was 7 of 36. One of those weird things, right? 46% on the road and 19% at home. That's crazy. Well, and I'm sorry, that might have been part of the reason they lost a couple of games. Jakari doesn't shoot but 1 or 2 or 3 a game, but he wasn't very good. Well, during that time frame in the home games, which would be 10, right? He shot 3.6 a game, 36, and he only made 7 of them, which is that's just an aberration because he hit 23 of 50 on the road. All right, so that's not bad at all. Basically, he's shooting about 33% total. Matt Pater needs only 2 wins for 500 during his time at Purdue, owning a 498 and 223 record in his 21st season with the Boilermakers. So there you have it. Big time game tomorrow. What's Bill say? Florida Gulf Coast University, Jacksonville University, Lipscomb University, and University of North Alabama. Those must be some of the teams. Plus Austin Peay. All right. Cool. University of Central Arkansas, Florida Gulf Coast, the University of North Florida, Queens, Stetson University, and the University of West Georgia. Thank you, Bill. I got to have somebody in the chat that's going to be able to take over and get me some stats when I don't know what they are. Thank you very much on that front for Bill. Bill, we got 7 minutes left. What do you think about the Cubs this year, too? I think Craig's in there. Craig, if you're in there, what do you guys think about the Cubs this year? Give me some heads up. I'm going to switch over to the Cubs real quick here, see what I can find out about Cubs on ESPN, and we'll talk a little bit about them for a few minutes before we just kind of really hit what happened real quick left weather-wise real fast, all right? So I'm going over to MLB. What's it say? Oh, he said that's the Atlantic Sun. That was the conference he put on there. Got to put some hearts on there for that. Boom, boom, boom. I think they're hearts. I think they go out. Yeah, there they go. I don't know if that was for me or if that's for Bill. Either way, it works out, right? When I go and look at the teams, the Cubs look pretty good. Pete Crow Armstrong's going to be playing in center, and he played for the USA team, which lost to Venezuela for the championship in the World Baseball. Did anybody watch any of it? I don't know. Bill, maybe you got a chance. Craig, me. I didn't get a chance to see it. I was kind of following it loosely, but I didn't follow it too much. We're only a week away from the beginning of the baseball season, so I am going to be watching the Cubs coming up pretty soon. Susie doesn't know it yet, but Marquee Network will be coming back onto our live stream at home of one of the things we live stream. I'm going to have to get rid of other things, though. Peacock. I got to get rid of the Peacock. That's what we got to do. We'll swap it out anyway. The Peacock, I only watch Cubs Purdue games on because they were on Peacock frequently. I don't know what we're going to do tomorrow night. I'm going to try to figure out where I can get True TV. I want to put it on the big screen out on the simulator out in the barn, play some golf out there, right? And Bill, you got to come up and play some golf here. Craig and I have played TPC Sawgrass. We've played out in California, Pebble Beach. We played a bunch of places. I haven't played a ton on it. I've had it over a year now, but we're going to try to play some more. Hopefully, these knees will allow me to do that here in the future. All right, the Cubs lost yesterday, 16-8. I don't care what their record is. They are 11-14. It looks like in spring training. Some of the guys were playing for the Team USA and other teams. That kind of makes it hard when you don't get to see what's going on there. He says they're going to come out strong for after the All-Star break, All-Star, I'm assuming, and go Cubs. Yes, go Cubs, go. Go Cubs, go. That's what we got to do, Bill. We got to hook up a game. You, Lincoln, Craig, me, all the guys in the family got to go up for a Cubs game one day this year, all right? We got to set it up. We got to figure it out. Maybe August. August sounds right. Right. Sometime in August, we got to figure it out when we can all come up together and get all the guys together, right? And then we'll have a drink for Joe for us. Remember, it's a joke because he would have come along with us no matter what, right? So that would have worked out pretty good. All right, so we got 3 minutes left. Let's go back to what we're going to be looking at. I'm going to look at some charts here real quick for you guys. We're going to go back, check the weather real quick. Look at it. Let's see. It's going to update 42 degrees. All right. So the 42 degrees comes up, mostly sunny conditions on that. Hopefully it comes up. There it is. And have they updated the numbers? Do you notice they have? They have updated. They're going for 68 today. I told you I'm going to go for 70. I'm going to go for 70. Bill says against the Cards is what he's saying on the Cubs game. We'll have to figure that out, right? Let's somebody start looking into it. All right. 75 tomorrow, 75 on Saturday, 81 on Sunday. I would not be surprised either Friday or Saturday if we hit 80. All depending on cloud cover and how much we get. Looks like here on this, it says we'll have a little less on Saturday. I don't trust those things. We went through all those maps, right? We see the systems bumping across to our north. We know we're going to be warm for about 4 or 5 days. Then we're going to cool off a little bit, but we'll be seasonable. We'll be either slightly above or slightly below normal for this time of the year as we get towards the ends of March. And then there could be some raininess coming into our future in the early April, right on April Fool's Day, first, second, third time frame in there. And I also got to start thinking a little bit more about Tennessee if I know Bill's going to be in here for that time frame. All right, so there you go. Matter of fact, let me switch it over to Nashville real quick here. All right, there you go. Current weather in Nashville, Bill, 48 right now. I know he lives northwest of Nashville. Looks like 72 for you today. But look at this, 81, 84, 87 on Sunday. Lots of sunshine because they are out of the loop. They are more down towards where the high is, where the better weather is, and the loop of the systems going around to our north, where we're catching some of those clouds. They are not getting down where he is northwest of Nashville there. All right, so and I know he's on his way getting ready to go to work if he's thinking about going to work today. But for the rest of us, I think I got to take a sick grandson to a doctor's appointment. Enjoy the warm weather the next few days, everybody. It's been great talking to you. Is it Friday? No, it's Thursday. I will be back tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, and we will talk again about everything that you love to talk about, weather-wise, sports-wise, and we may even get into what's happening in the world, depending on how long I go and I talk. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Signing off now, 9 o'clock tomorrow. Be there or be square.